We are back in front of the camera again. As usual, we have not given ourselves enough time to set up, but we are here and we are having fun. This will be a good working session, so feel free to keep those questions and comments coming. I love seeing all of the crew here. We have Luis and Aubrey is here. We have Jeffrey. We have Cynthia, who is sad. What do you need? You need a new computer. You need a computer. Someone give Cynthia a computer so she can join us. That would be incredible. But yeah, you can use it with an iPad, but not on an iPad.
Not natively on. But an iPad is a great resource.
It's a great resource.
Ecamm.
Hopefully you're still creating video even if you're not using Ecamm. You're always welcome here. And Paul is about to say that you need to put a Q in front of your question. Otherwise, it's just a comment.
Paul's great about that. I've seen him on a few other streams. He's like, hey guys, listen, don't forget, put the Q. And I forget to remind people, so thank you, Paul.
Paul is a super moderator. And hey, you guys, I'm hoping that you can hear us because we hooked up our Rodecaster Pro. So we have not one, but two microphones. We are using them officially for the first time, not in like a testing environment.
Yeah. I kind of miss our shared one though, because last time, if you joined us last time 3 weeks ago, we had one, and it was on a little floaty foam thing, and we crushed it. We made it work, also known as that.
We made it work. Oh, Gretchen says that she's on the 7th day of Ecamm trial, 7 days of live. You're in day 7 of the trial, and you've been going live every day of the trial?
Whoa.
That's amazing.
That is commitment.
That is way better than I did, Gretchen. I started with the trial, and I was working at the company and still was like, okay, maybe like tomorrow I'll do a live. Today I'll just play around and get used to it.
You weren't a faithful follower on the.
I was not a faithful follower. I was friends with Ken and really good at marketing, or so I like to think.
Yes, you are really good at marketing. That's facts. That's awesome.
Oh, well, I know we only have an hour today because the kids are in coding class. So
yes,
we are here to continue our discussion all about what cool gear and things you might need in your, I'm trying to figure out like the best terminology for this kit. It's not really like
on
location kit?
Travel kit?
Travel kit? Travel video producer kit?
I keep accidentally calling it remote.
And it's not
but
really.
It's not. Like
no.
I'm physically moving from but
yeah, you're remote, but it's not really a remote live streaming kit because you could do remote live streaming from your studio.
From your corner of your master bedroom, like me. For those,
Yep, absolutely. Same. I'm in the corner of my master bedroom if I'm not here. So yeah, but we did, Jill was kind enough to drop all of the links. So I think below us down here in the description, you can grab all of the links for the things that we'll talk about today. And then I also dropped a link to our last live stream. So there was a bunch of helpful info there too. If you want to swing on over, click through and watch that, you're welcome to. Let's jump in. I made you lug like a huge bag of equipment up the flight of stairs.
I'm here for it. So it's funny. So if you did not look in the description yet, like don't save it for later because it'll be like a surprise. I don't know. So the things I brought last time, which I do recommend. I'm sorry, I'm chewing a mint. I just didn't want to be like this close to you with some stank breath, which I drink coffee. So
it's all good.
Let's just do. Nothing happened.
Hold for a second. We got to just welcome new people that joined. So we have Donald here. We have Sishang is here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And definitely, please, this is an impromptu pre-Thanksgiving live stream for here from the Test Studio. So please laugh with us, join in with us, ask any questions. No dumb questions.
No dumb
Everything
questions.
is welcome. Everything is welcome. And we're playing with the Rodecaster Pro, so hopefully we sound great.
Yeah.
I saw a couple thumbs up, so.
It's beautiful. I don't have a Rodecaster Pro. I will say, and we're only working on one camera today because we're doing simple, but it's bigger than I thought.
It's big, yeah.
It's big.
It's big. It's so pretty because it's rainbow colored. I wish we could show you. It was bad planning on my part, but it's got, for those of you who probably already know anyway, but it's got rainbow buttons. So it's so fun.
I want to hit all of the buttons. I want to be like, boom, but I won't do that.
Oh, Sweden. Thank you so much for watching from Sweden. I was there a couple of years ago.
Oh, I can say svenska flicka, which I think means Swedish girl.
Nice. Let us know. And my best friend and I do fika almost every single day, which is like the let's pause and have tea and snacks. Coffee and tea and snacks. So
That sounds nice.
All right, we're getting distracted. Sorry.
We're getting distracted.
Do continue on with the first thing you would like to show us today.
So the first thing I'd like to show today, and what I brought is kind of just like a mixed bag of like, there might be really high cost, or low cost. It's kind of like all over the place. It's all based on like things I definitely use all the time with the setup that I have. And my setup kind of changes. If you're new to knowing me, that's a weird way to say that. But if you don't know who I am Jill. I'm a communications coordinator, creative director, and then for video production, I do live streaming, some corporate stuff, but I'm mostly kind of known for doing some sports and dance competitions and all sorts of kind of like live action. But then I do dabble in the corporate stuff to, pay those bills and whatnot. So we do, anyways, for the first thing I'm going to bring up, I resisted buying this for a long time.
Things with lots of buttons feel a little scary.
Yes.
You're like, what am I going to do with all these buttons?
Right. And the first time I was told about the Ecamm Mini, I think it was the Ecamm Mini, not the Ecamm Mini Pro. I like the Pro better. The ISO is even better, a little bit more of an investment. But I resisted this because where I saw it used the most was at a church, and they were going straight out live streaming from the Ecamm and then integrating any type of lower thirds through a separate computer. Yeah. And for me, I've always been like, I love to pick and choose, and I like to control, I guess is the word, everything that goes in the stream. So for me, I'm like a computer laptop based. I like to do designs in it. And so like even this overlay, there's so much that you can do. So I like to do things from the computer first. And I resisted the Ecamm Mini Pro because I was like, I also want to have multiple cameras on screen at the same time. Yep. And this was not exactly the right piece of equipment for me because I wanted to stream from my computer and multi-stream with restream. And anyway, so I resisted this, but then they made me get it because I started doing sports. So for me, even though when I stream, I'm switching cameras. I've got a bunch of cameras plugged in USB or through capture cards. With sports, I needed to switch very quickly from camera to camera without changing my scene. Now, I know that you can do this natively in Ecamm. You can get yourself a Stream Deck. I also have one of those, and I use that in a super creative way with sports too. But it was super helpful when having to switch from this shot to that to use the buttons on an Ecamm Mini. It also, I used to work with an older laptop that we all know the fans go off, right? It didn't have the best graphics card.
It was hanging in there.
It was freaking woof. It was not great. And it was working so hard that it was affecting my stream too. So the Ecamm was great when I had multiple different camera angles I wanted to switch to, where I wanted the scene to stay the same, but I wanted the camera to switch instantaneously. And I wanted to take some of the pressure off of my older laptop, which I have now replaced because that thing was old anyway. Only one Stream Deck. And I used the XL Stream Deck for sports.
So there's a really great question that Jeffrey has. I'm going to catch it before it flies by here.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out if the Ecamm is a separate use or if you're using it in conjunction with the Stream Deck.
Oh, great question. So all right, let me give you an example. Live streaming a hockey game, I had multiple cameras, and so I would use the Ecamm almost as like muscle memory over here on my left. I would just be like, switch camera one, click, camera two, camera, so I would just like click, click. So I'd switch through the cameras with that left hand. On my right hand, I was, Ecamming. I didn't have comments because it was a high school game. I didn't need any comments in there, you know what I'm saying? So, but I used the Stream Deck, and I used it like this. I went in and pre-programmed students' names. So there was things on the top left. I can still remember it. The top left was MHS goal, Marlboro High School goal. And then I had the other team programmed on the right next to it. So if Marlboro scored, I'd quickly hit the button that made the title MHS scores comes out and then the other team. But I also pre-programmed all of the kids' names.
Perfect.
So goal by number 2, Chris Stefides, So I would hit one button to say, hey, Marlboro scores. And I'd be like, who the crap just scored? Then they would tell me. I would verify it by 2 people because I just was afraid of hitting the wrong name.
Like, way to go, Chris. We mean Patrick. Way to go, Patrick.
Okay, so true story. My nephew played on one of the teams and he finally scored, right?
Oh, no.
I was so excited. I hit all of the buttons.
You're like, everyone scored. Everyone scored.
It was really embarrassing, and my sister-in-law knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I've used them separately. I think of the Stream Deck as switching between scenes, and I use it for firing overlays or transitions or going to commercial breaks and all of that. So the Stream Deck for me is switching to the things inside of Ecamm or overlays inside of Ecamm. And I use the Ecamm Mini Pro to take the heat off of my computer, to have multiple HDMI, but those inputs are only going on the screen one at a time because I don't love the picture-in-picture setup on the Ecamm. So if you have cameras you don't want on the screen at the same time, then like sports, that might make sense. And so I use both, and that's how I use them.
Yeah, that's a great question. And Cynthia was asking, I'm just going to scroll up, hopefully without damaging anything. Cynthia wants to know about the microphones. This is a really good, and I'm learning a lot of this. Doc's in the chat, so he's going to shoot out all of the brilliance. But
yes,
these are Shure these are Shure MV7s. So they are actually both a USB microphone, so you can just plug them right into your Mac or into a hub, and they are plug and play. They are also, which I had forgotten the last couple of times.
I love that story.
Yeah, they are also XLR microphones, which is how they are connected right now. So that's this kind of big, chunkier port in the back. And so we are using them right now as XLR microphones, and they are plugging into the Rodecaster Pro. So as you can imagine, there are all kinds of fun things that can happen in the world of audio depending on what you're trying to do. So we definitely would encourage, if you're doing, an interview with someone and they're calling in, from a remote location using our interview mode, you are going to want to have headphones. And the reason, so some of the time you can get away with it. There are some times where it's like a super simple setup. Like, who's calling in. You know that they're just using like a simple plug and play. They're in a quiet room. It's all going to be fine. No problem. But what ends up happening is you get an amazing guest on. They are like prepared. They have a bunch of cool audio equipment. They're doing a bunch of different things on the other end. And all of those different points can have the potential to cause echoes, weird feedback, things that can come up. So you're just better off with the headphones. I know that some people don't like the look of them, but you can get ones that barely show up at all.
Yeah, I use you have these ones.
Yep. Yeah, these are the ones that Doc recommends. I'm a bit of an idiot with them. They're the ones that take me a couple seconds to get in. So I usually put them in before I start instead of like reaching and grabbing them during, because I look crazy. But
no, I can't. And if I don't have my readers on, I'm like,
you're like left or right.
Yeah, that's also really fun.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, having good audio is probably the most important part of your setup, because you can have the video quality come in and out and people will still stay on the stream.
Yeah.
You can, look pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But if they can't hear you, they're not gonna, or if there's a weird echo or audio issue, people are way more likely to just click off. So, so yeah, that's not Ecamm specific. So I know you were saying, Cynthia, that you're not an Ecamm user yet. So you mean you can have the same setup in a different software or, in a different way and still be able to get that great sound. So, yeah, sorry for headphones, but you might get used to them. I use them in many cases, but not in this one because we're in the same room. We did a sound check. Before we went live. So yeah, like Doc's helping answer.
Yay, Doc!
I love it.
You're welcome, Jeffrey.
Scrolling back through, Doc. These are, as Doc is reminding, MV7s, and they do both because I'm constantly screwing things up. And yes, Paul is right. This stream is definitely one where you might end up feeling like you need to spend some money. You don't, but if you're going to, we are about to hit Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale time. So it's good timing.
I feel like I should use one of these buttons, but I don't know which one makes which sound. I wish. So I've got the Amazon affiliate thing checked, but I don't have anything set up for Black Friday. I feel like I missed the boat, but you know what? Life is what it is. you know? So let's go to something super cheap.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Speaking of things that are affordable, everyone can have.
All right.
Woo!
How's that on your ears? Okay. So we're not showing behind the scenes, but cable management is really important. And for all of the jobs that I've gone on, I went from kind of having big footprints. I have a size 10 and a half. Anyway, but literally, to wanting to have a smaller footprint. So there's, I'll talk about like different camera options. But no matter what your setup is, whether you're in your home or in an office or on the road, you're going to want to, be as professional as possible. And having crazy amounts of cableage everywhere sometimes can give the impression that, oh man, they've got a whole lot going on. Or it can also be like, what the crap is going on? So
trip hazards,
yes.
Fear of injuries.
Oh my gosh, yep. So definitely hook and loop. So hook and loop because Velcro is okay. Sorry, but this is just one example of what you can use. Last time I brought gaff tape. Huge gaff tape fan. So make sure you have a big fat roll of gaff tape, and then have something. Whether it's this, you can cut these or those little tie wraps. Plan your time to set everything up and then kind of beautify things a little bit, just so that it's not a distraction and it doesn't take away from whatever production you're doing and people tripping on things, which is a huge problem. I was at a gig and we had a computer with an SSD card or an SD card, and a client sat down, started talking, accidentally pulled it out, and it corrupted that. And it eventually got back, and it was fine. But in the moment, it was like, oh crap, and those that can do that. So, anyways, have a plan for what you're going to do with your cables, especially if you are on the road.
Yeah, and
gaff tape works for you.
Gaff tape is actually one that I still haven't got yet in this studio space, but which I need. I need friends. I know you're all going to yell at me. But I remember back when I initially was getting started and I interviewed the incredible Diana Gladney, and she gave like a pro tip that was mind-blowing back then, still mind-blowing to me. She was like, I just put little like theater style. She like literally puts little tape markings on her floor so that if she needs to move things around her space, she knows where to put it back. And whether you're in an office space or a studio space or you're on the go, even something as simple as that, having something to do that with goes a long way. So yeah. Wrap the hook and loop inside out so it doesn't snag your talent's clothing or collect dust. Pro tips from the best.
From Dak. All right, another super cheap but important thing to have if you are concerned about lighting. So do you know what this is?
Wax paper.
Close. This is...
I'm a baker. Parchment paper.
Parchment paper. It's tracing paper. Tracing paper. Although I wonder if wax paper would do the same thing. I don't know. But this is tracing paper that you can get from a craft store. I have it linked in Amazon below. My daughter is a big little artist, so she likes to use this stuff. But this is great if you're needing to diffuse light. So I was talent. Can you even imagine? I was talent at a show.
I believe it.
So for the Rosetta Stone, they had me fly out to LA, and it was this big video production. If you download the Rosetta Stone app and you look at Spanish on-demand videos, you'll find Coach Jill. Not a big deal. Anyways, I bring that up to say that I was with this professional production crew, big deal crew. And in his go bag, the videographer, he had a roll of tracing paper. And he's like, you can get so many different things, but he had all these crazy lights, things that I'll never be able to afford. But tracing paper and gaff tape was his like definite must always have these things.
Yeah, super smart. I was helping a friend set up their studio last week at the week. Doc, you'd be so proud of me. I answered questions. I was there on site. But one of the challenges that they had was that they grabbed a light based on a recommendation, probably even from us. And they have a very small space and they have the light very close to the wall. And so they just desperately needed some kind of diffusion.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can solve this. I know what the answer to this thing is. So yeah, being able to do that when you're on the fly in a cheap way, if you don't have all your kind of soft boxes and things at the go is smart. Very smart. I love it's diffusion paper according to Doc. So
diffusion paper.
And wax paper might color your lights a bit. See, we're learning a lot. Is wax paper the same as parchment paper? I don't think so. I think that one's different too.
Taping ankles when you fall down a hill into a river in the middle.
Oh, yeah, good, yeah. For all of you outdoorsy people / accident-prone people. Yeah, definitely.
And it probably doesn't hurt as much when you take it off, like duct tape might.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cynthia, we've got you. Doc is here in the chat, and he is like the genius when it comes to audio. So, Doc, help Cynthia. And Cynthia, see Doc. He can set up a one-on-one call with you and just kind of walk through some of those questions, because sometimes you just need to kind of test it and play with it to feel comfortable with what may cause an echo and what might not. And so, yeah, Doc is great for being able to answer that in a really detailed way. But yeah, we got you.
Yep.
We'll make you look good. I love it. All right, what else is in this?
Another thing. All right. What?
Mary Poppins style bag.
Right? So, let's see. Do you know what this is?
Looks like a battery that you plug in.
That's right. Okay.
A dummy battery, if you
dummy
will.
battery. I will. Yes, I will. So, if you're new to the streaming game, world.
Space.
That's the world. Space. All those other words. If you've got a camera, so this is a dummy battery for a Canon M50. Back off, Doc. It's what I used for one of my clients. So they've got 3 Canon M50s. And so definitely whatever camera you have, whatever camera you're planning on streaming from, plug in the name of the camera. I've got a few for my Canon 80Ds, and just write dummy battery, because for sure you cannot go.
We've so been there where there's nothing more embarrassing than when your camera like freezes and then turns off, because it's always at the worst. Like you just look terrible, and it takes a second to be like, what? Oh no.
Yes. And battery power, like if you're using video, like I have a Canon 80D I use for photography and videography. If you're doing a lot of video, it just eats up your battery. So get a dummy battery. Now, I've linked a few different ones, because you can have one that plugs into a wall, or you can have it be USB. I tend to like these ones as opposed to the USB. I don't know. I just feel like I haven't had great luck with USB, but a lot of people love that. And you can use those banks, and it's a bit more portable. So that's up to you, whatever works for you. But for sure, I have dummy batteries for all of my cameras. The only one I don't have it for is my camcorder that I showed last time, the Canon XA11. And I just have so many extra batteries for that.
Backups on backups.
So many. And so what I'll do is I'll take all of the batteries. One little thing I've learned to do, when you have a whole bunch of things, especially batteries are perfect for this, like which ones are charged and which ones aren't.
Oh, good question. Yeah.
So I literally, it's very cheap, but it just works for me, a visual person. I have 2 Ziploc bags. One has a red piece of paper in it, and one has a green piece of paper in it.
Fast and easy.
So especially when I'm working with other people, I'm like, oh, that battery's getting low during throw it in the red, get one in the green, and so no matter whu you're working with, you don't have to say no the front, no the pocket on no that one. You know what I mean? So whatever systems work for you, but for sure having a dummy battery is one of the first steps I would make if you're new to streaming, because you're going to go through your batteries really quickly.
Yeah. I definitely, if you watch through some of the older live shows that I've done, I had a couple where my battery completely died, even though it was totally charged up. I had a really great one where I was doing an interview with Kevin Colby. Shout out to Kevin Colby, where as it was starting, I realized that it wasn't plugged in and that it was downstairs. And I was like, I have enough time. So I was in the green room. I ran downstairs, and he brought me up on screen. It was just a blank chair. And he was like, Katie, are you there? So yeah, don't be Katie. Be Jill.
Don't be Katie.
Backup batteries.
Well, I will say these ones, some of them, depending on your camera, this will go into your, and actually I saw someone on the Ecamm community say, oh my gosh, I'm such a dummy. I used the dummy battery, but I didn't have it plugged in. So they switched the battery in, and they're like, it's not working because the cable wasn't plugged in. These cables too, if it's this type of a setup, my other one is different. It's physically connected into the camera. But if it's one of these where you put this in the camera, you shut the door, and then you plug this through, there's a little little rubber thing you move out of the way and you plug this through. I would encourage you, based on experience, to then go ahead and use gaff tape to connect this to the bottom. Also, some cameras, if you don't close the door on the bottom, like we're using a dummy battery with this Sony here, and the door can be open and that's fine. But other cameras are finicky, so people have thought, "Oh my gosh, it's not working." Just check all the things, and if you have to close the door, close the door. Does that make sense?
Do a test. And yeah, Luis says he's got a video talking with a numbering system for batteries. Ooh. Drop the link in. Sharing is caring.
I do.
Yeah. Totally. Yes. Link it. You're a moderator. You can do that.
Do it. Okay. I'm really intrigued. I would love to see it because I'm all about everybody has different systems. Everybody has different preferences. And when you're kind of all over the place, and especially like if you're going in to produce something that you're not in your home, you've got to remember a million different things. So whatever system works for you, do that. But don't be afraid of when you do have some downtime, search different systems to streamline things and make your life easier for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, dummy batteries were a huge thing. And I felt like it took a while for me to realize, and then took a while to figure out like what exactly it was called. So yeah, if you need dummy battery, so your name of your camera plus that will help you figure all that out.
Definitely. And a lot of cameras, like I'm a big fan of the Blackmagic cameras, the pocket cameras. Those are really great. And actually some of them, they just come with power and no batteries, and you have to buy batteries. So there's different cameras that are set up differently, and figuring out what works for you in your projects. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. What else do we have?
More stuff?
Are we there?
We're there. Okay. I should jump back to not the cheapest thing. So we did, we kicked it off with the Ecamm Mini Pro and the reasons why. And this one, I want to say it's like $500 for the Ecamm Mini Pro. I highly recommend if you're doing any type of sporting event or where this gives you multi-view. One quick thing, if you bought this today and it gets to your house tomorrow, it won't because it's Thanksgiving, guys. But if you don't expect to, with the Ecamm Mini Pro, this is just a little, don't expect to plug it in and have multi-camera view enabled. So what you have to do for this is you have to go into the Blackmagic website.
You need the software.
Yep. And you just need to download the software, put in your serial number, all that, register it. And then there's like a few little spots to like things you need to click to enable. Multi-view is definitely why I went with the Ecamm Mini Pro and not the Ecamm Mini, which was only $300. In fact, I bought the Mini and then I realized, oh shoot, it doesn't have multi-cam view, and I returned it and then upgraded to this. So definitely there's a ton of YouTube videos on how to do that. I will say their website's not as easy to navigate and find that driver and the tutorial.
Hard, yeah.
But once you do,
you'll get there,
and don't be afraid. So we started off with that. We went to a few little cheaper items that are like clutch. So let's talk about this Mevo camera. Mm-hmm. Wait, let's do the thing. Katie, hide.
There, we got it. We got it.
It's just that the camera loves us and wants to be. I mean, why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So Mevo cameras, I'm super curious with you that are watching right now. So I'm keeping an eye on the chat over here. If anyone uses the Mevo cameras, I have found that it is a great option as so in the streaming that I do for a podcast, I like to have a camera all the way in the corner that gives the behind the scenes where we're
shot.
Exactly. Yeah. And I wasn't satisfied with any webcam that I could find. I'm just snob. And then even and some of the webcams that I found, I do like the face cam for some things. Okay, I'm not going to badmouth you. You're Susan, who's the good boy. So I have used the face cam, but I needed a shot that was even wider and farther away from my hub. Yeah. So anyways, the Mevo camera is a really interesting, whether you buy the 3-pack, and you can stream right from there. I don't recommend it because I'm a control freak and I like to add in all the nice things. But it's a great option, either plugged in via USB or NDI as another camera that can be totally far away. And if we gave ourselves more than 5 minutes to set up this show,
we could have set it up.
We could have. But you know what? We're like moms, taking our kids to coding class, and we will do what we want. But anyways, I like the Mevo. It's I want to say it's $400 for one, or you can buy 3 for $1,000. I like it. I don't know that I would do my main production from it, but it is nice to be able to have it be anywhere you want, super inconspicuous, and then get one of these attachments. I have like 5 of these because I do. But these are really great to like.
There we go.
Is it doing it?
I think so. I can't see.
It's doing it. We should like make that like we should do not out gifts, right? Gifts. Yeah, we should.
Uh-oh.
Did I kick something?
Nope.
No. Okay.
It might be the kids in the coding class.
The kids are coding a monster. So, anyways, I'm curious. I'm looking back over here.
It looks like a couple use it.
C-Shine.
On NDI 24/7. Yeah, if you're in the community, which I think most of you are, recognize all your names and smiling faces. Then you can do a quick search. I did a master class actually with the team at Mevo probably a year and a half ago or so, and they shared a lot of. You can kind of see the difference in footage between that and some of the other cameras and some of the functionality of it. So I'll try to go back and grab that link for you here. But
yeah, I feel like plugged right in either as a webcam, it plugged in USB or NDI. I've been really happy with the image quality. Yeah. Even without adding LUTs or anything like that, like just straight out, that has been if you're going to drop a couple $100 on a webcam, even though it can do way more than a webcam does, I think that is worth its money. Shout out. And this is not sponsored. This is just my opinion. And so if I know a lot of churches use it, and even you could use it for like a static shot for sports. I'm not sure I would use it as a tracking camera for sports. Definitely I would use my camcorder. But anyways, I like the Mevo. I think that it's a useful thing to have in your bag.
Great question about the GoPro. You talked about the GoPro last week.
GoPro. I love my GoPro. Any experience? Okay, so yes. So the last time, and if you watch our first episode from a few weeks ago, I talked a lot about the GoPro. The thing that I love about it is that you can kind of get into cool spots with it. It has all these clamps. I use it as a behind the scenes on the benches during hockey. So I'd go from if that team scored, I'd go from that shot over to the behind the scenes when the kids go by and high fives. Super, super cool. If you have the settings right. Yeah, beautiful. It is tricky to get the right settings to make it look the way you want. But once you figure that out, that's good. It's also not super easy to set up the first time when you're using the GoPro. Like I would use it with the A10 Mini. So I would do micro HDMI out into the A10 Mini as one of my camera inputs. And then I'd have to have a battery pack plugged into it because, man, those things just eat up juice. Mm-hmm. So yes, I do. I'm a weird GoPro fan, but there are times where I'm like, I have to, it's like, there's only 2 buttons, right? So to get through the menu options, you have to you plug it in and it's not even giving you HDMI. You have to push the 2 buttons at the same time. Then you have to hit the side button 4 times and then the top one to select clean HDMI, which is a little exhausting to explain. But if you can get through all of that, it is a really cool, and those are pretty cheap too. Yeah. But these are definitely more plug and play.
You have to want it. Yeah. You really have to believe in it.
You do, but then once you do, it's like you'll never go back. No, it's fun for some behind the scenes stuff too. If you're doing more than live streaming, if you're doing also video production, it's kind of that unique, I don't know.
Cynthia, you're a family. You're welcome to hang out here. We are all just learning together. So
yes.
You are absolutely welcome here in our community space. No worries. You're good.
There's so much even if there are a lot of people that give so many tips back and forth, and people that are using different products, or their team Canon, and then Doc makes them buy a Sony, and now their team's Sony, and things change, and wherever you're getting value add, that's awesome.
Yeah. You might also be able to pick up, most of our community members are upgrading right now in the holiday season, and we have a trading post. So you might be able to grab, a year or 2-year-old MacBook or Mac computer in some way and be able to get up and running. So hang out with us. Yeah. You're welcome here.
And I like the Mac Mini. I think that they're really affordable.
Yeah.
Compared to I have a maxed out 2020 MacBook Pro, which I love, but I kind of like my Mac Mini more. But
Yeah.
Not as portable, but still.
Yeah, absolutely. You love to come here. I love it. What GoPro model are you using?
I have the Hero 8 and the Hero 9, both with the media mods, because you put it in this little cage and then you can charge and stream at the same time. You want the mod. The media mod. You need the mod. Yes.
I love it. I love it. Yay, Team Mini. Yeah, minis are awesome. I was amazed when Doc was here in the studio. He just like rolled in his tiny like roller bag suitcase and was like had all of his gear, and it was amazing. So if you're on the go, just because you don't have a laptop doesn't mean you can't still be portable.
It's true. Team Canon. Okay. Also Team Canon. Okay, I've got 2 Canon 80Ds. Love them. But I also have a Sony now because, okay. All right, back to cheap things.
Cheap things.
Ready for more cheap things?
Cheap things.
Yay, cheap things. Okay.
Excuse me.
This is one of the cheapest things I have. And this is it's linked in the description. It's a 7-inch HDMI little monitor. It does have attachments that you can like put it on a little stand.
Get fancy.
Get so fancy. So I'll tell you why I love this guy, okay? It powers by USB, so you could just plug it into your computer or your hub or one of those battery packs. I always did a battery pack. So I used this as my monitor for the Ecamm Mini.
Oh, fun.
Because when you're on the go, like I wanted to have some of my equipment, but I didn't need everything, right? So I was streaming from a laptop at the time. The Ecamm Mini Pro was taking all the cameras. I had my Stream Deck. Everything was gorgeous. Loved it. But I didn't need to have a big fat monitor to preview the cameras. So for me, I had my 2 GoPro static shots, which I didn't really need to monitor, but I still like to have up there. And then I had 2 tracking cameras at times. So I just like to be able to, before I switched to them, I also had a headset I'd talk to my camera people on, but I like to be able to see what I was switching to.
Yeah, what the next shot's going to be, yeah.
Because also with the tricky little things with the GoPro, and every once in a while, like if a cable came undone and you had to replug it and then you had to reset the settings, I would hate to switch to that safety shot, but have an issue.
It'd be like just a black screen.
With the safety shot, but I didn't need to bring a huge monitor. Now, the other reason why I really like this guy is that I'll use this as in my teleprompter for my, what do you call it? Confidence shot. What do you call it?
Yeah, confidence monitor.
Yeah, that's it. I just messed up my words. So you can use this. It's so tiny, and all you do is it has a HDMI input, and then it has the USB to charge it. You can also plug it in through like regular power, AV power, whatever. But I liked this. Now it is small. It's only 7 inches, but I think that I don't know how much it was. It was very cheap, and I've used it a ton, either as a multicam view from the Ecamm or as my confidence monitor.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah. I'd actually grab one just to use as a confidence monitor because I'm always on the laptop and I'm always running around between 4 or 5 different places, and inevitably like it's like I have like sticky notes in front of me and down. I have like my phone to the side. So yeah, having something else to just have some notes on.
Even if it's like
see how the show is. Yeah.
And so I'm team teleprompter for sure. We don't have one in this spot because we don't really need it. It's a conversation between Katie and I. We have one in the other
office that I've used a few times. It's helpful I find it very helpful for presenting.
Yes.
Or if I'm doing like a really formal interview and I have a lot of like notes and things, I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I love it for that.
Or to make that eye contact with your guests.
Yeah.
Like Katie and I are used to talking into a camera lens, knowing that we're talking to all of you. And we have a monitor Doc is joking about to the right of us. It's the 101-inch Samsung. That's the confidence monitor. We could, but it would be terrible.
We have a giant one as well.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, we have an absolutely huge Samsung. That's for Ecamm movie nights. So
yeah.
Obviously, you got to come back. And to answer your question, Doc, it is incredibly preposterously cold. At least it was this morning. Like snow cold, like too cold for snow level cold.
Too cold.
Yeah, I had to get out the mitts and what I call toques, which you all call beanies or winter hats, but
toques?
Yeah, Canadian. Yeah, I assure you, you're all wrong. It's called it's called a toque.
I assure you. Okay, Katie is known for being very polite, very diplomatic, very Canadian, if you will. But she just got a little sass. No, I assure you, They are called toques.
It took me forever when people were like, "Can you grab your beanie?" And I was like, "I don't know what that is." And
Like
if I
a beanie
admit that,
baby?
you will laugh at me. So I'm gonna just watch for cues. Confidence monitor for the win. I think that that's handy,
Yes.
both on the go and honestly, even in some studio spaces.
Yeah, even if you just want over on the side to see what your show. I mean, gosh, there's so many freaking monitors that we can have in my own, like I have a lot of monitors at home, but there is something nice about this. If you don't want to use an iPad as your extra monitor, if you're kind of in between things, this is maybe $50 or something. The only drawback, in full transparency, is that the buttons. Are you pinning that? That is the only comment we've put on here.
Danielle, you and I, we're here.
Don't encourage her.
Teamwork.
Wait, I gotta put. Okay, it's silver lining too. Oh gosh, wait. Oh God, I did her comment.
Dina agrees too.
I love that. You're all wrong.
You're all wrong. Yeah.
So this one, when you do plug it in, and maybe there's a setting switch that I just haven't played with. There's a volume button. Anyways, it's like it makes a beeping sound. Like if you touch the buttons, it's like beep, you hit power and it's like really loud.
Oh yeah. So you want it set up in advance.
Yes.
Or be quick on the mute button.
So that was one thing that did surprise me when I bought it, but yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's true, Doc. I say toque, and my people come running. They come running. Absolutely.
I've never heard that word.
Oh, there you go.
I'm a language teacher. I have my master's in teaching English second language. I've never heard that English word.
Embarrassing fun story. So my 7-year-old is obsessed with languages. Like she just wants to learn not just one, multiple languages.
Yeah.
And so the other night, but none of them are French, which is what I actually know how to speak. So so she comes home and she's like, "Will you read this Spanish book out loud to me?" And I'm like, "I will, and I am not going to pronounce it correctly." And I completely butchered the Spanish language and tried to read. And she was like, "What is this? What is this thing?" I was like, "That's an accent. I don't know what happens when we do that in Spanish. Here's what it would sound like in French, because the words are so similar."
I don't know what happens when that appears.
Yeah, so I might need to buy her Rosetta Stone subscription.
Well, if you do, look for me because I'm in there.
Yeah, or hire a Jill to come by.
Spanish, kiddo. All right, I got one more cheapish thing.
Let's bring it on.
So if you're doing, if you're new to live streaming in a room with physically with other people, and not doing like this
together in the same space,
but you don't have all of the equipment yet, if you're just kind of starting off, there are some affordable options which definitely will still sound great. So I use this exact microphone. I love the name of it. It's a Manly. Okay, wait, Katie. It's doing it. It's a Manly. Okay, so this is a Manly mic. Terrible name. And actually, so I have the one I have linked is by a different company, but it's this. I think it's.
But
the
you
same.
Want the Manly one?
You want?
Why wouldn't you want the Manly one?
So before I could buy all the things that I bought, I just looked up XLR condenser microphone, and this is what I came up with. And as long as you face the Manly towards you, as long as you face it in the correct direction, you plug it in XLR like any of these fancy microphones. And what I was problem solving was we needed to live stream interviews with multiple people in the same room, but socially distanced right at the beginning of the pandemic through a job that I have with an economic development corporation. So I was like, oh my gosh. And they had such a tight budget, but we needed to have each microphone come in separately. So we bought
some Manly microphones.
Some Manly microphones. They came with this solid little stand.
Yeah, they look great.
Fine.
Look at that.
Super great. And then you can buy the arm one. So I have this linked, just the holder, and then the stand that comes with these ones are the ones that clamp to the table. But we didn't need that in our space. So anyways, if you are on a budget and you still want to be able to, if a company calls you and says, yeah, we've got a live streaming event, we want everybody mic'd up or separately or sit at the same table, and we don't want that interference or that echoing that you would get from any of the USB microphones, look into that. it's a cheap option, but what I have to make that talk to the computer, I have all of those going into a Zoom track it's in the description, but a soundboard that was also pretty affordable. Yeah. And then some of those can talk straight to your computer, like straight in as one audio in through Ecamm.
Yep.
But what I have mine going into a Scarlett
Focusrite.
Thank you. Focusrite. And it's just the two by two. So it's all I do is from the board, I have all my microphones plugged into different line ins. And then some of them need phantom power depending on what you have. And then you do your audio out XLR into the Scarlett, and then the Scarlett talks to the computer. And you monitor it through Ecamm's software if you want, or you can do whatever you want in terms of audio treatment. But that's what I did to get things running, and it's been great and really affordable.
And a great name. I just love it all around. I'm not going to forget. I'm going to... It's just an absolutely fantastic name. Well, we have neared the end of our hour. As usual, it flies by. And Sammy, you missed it. And we're so sad that you weren't here with us throughout the entire time.
Sammy.
But we will catch you in the replay. And we are always happy to answer questions as they come in. If you are part of the Ecamm fam, you are an active subscriber. We love you. And we'll be sending you an amazingly fun bonus freebie cool thing tomorrow by email as a thank you and as a happy Thanksgiving. So make sure that you're signed up for our emails or you're checking your email. Make sure it doesn't end up in the spam folder. And from us Canadians/Americans to all of you Canadians/Americans, have an absolutely fantastic Thanksgiving and holiday season. We are so excited to be able to hang out with you. Mary Lou Mandel, who is hands down one of my favorite people. I'm constantly learning Instagram from her. So if you need someone to learn Instagram from, she'll be taking over our Instagram account. She's already taken over our blog. She's got like a bajillion recommendations for you on all different kinds of gear and what's on sale. So if you're shopping this weekend, join Mary Lou over on our Instagram channel. She'll be sharing all of her tips, and she'll be shout out and send her messages to our Instagram and say, like, I'm looking for this thing. Consider her your personal gear shopper this weekend. She is here to help you. So hang out with us this weekend. All weekend long, we'll be sharing all kinds of deals that we have.
Awesome. I have a present.
Live unwrapping?
Live, guys, this is a live unwrapping. This is for you, Katie.
Right, I'm unwrapping live. Bajillion.
I was so excited.
Yay!
I found it.
Okay, wait. It is a ceramic camera for my son.
Guys.
Wait.
Best thing about that, but Jillian, the person.
Wait, I don't want to see behind me though. We gotta figure out the best space for it. Maybe like
that's cute.
All right, can we see it there? Hang on, wait, no,
there.
In the way.
It's under your head. It's behind your head.
I may have to reposition.
So guys, run to the dollar store.
Find fun pieces of flair. I'm a big fan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank all of you. We are going to bounce.
Thanksgiving.
But definitely hang out with us again. I'm going to try to make these a little bit more consistent, but I appreciate you guys popping in and joining us here in the test studio. Maybe we'll do some like phone-in questions sometimes too. That'd be fun.
That'd be cool with this thing.
Yeah, we can test and play around. Work. With the Rodecaster Pro. But happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Happy long weekend and happy normal weekend to everyone that's not in the U.S. And we will be back again next time. Thanks all. Bye.